Hi, y'all. My name is Don Logsdon, and this is my daughter, Cameron Morantz Logsdon. Now, when she was 4, she was adopted. She became Jennifer Alpert, and remained that way until she went from there to a private investigator, and in 2016 she met me, and when we hooked up, she wanted to change her name back to Cameron, so that I call her Cami. She's my daughter, and that's truly her name. But, well, this is going to be hard to say, but look, I'm not exactly one of those goody-goody two-shoes kind of guys. It's, you know, I was in trouble at the time all of this was going on, so I wasn't really in a position to raise my daughter. I was in jail when she was born. That was a straight-out reality to the matter. And so, and her mom was in the same problem I was in. She couldn't raise her either because she was in trouble with the law. So the state of California put her into the adoption agency where she would finally be adopted out. And meanwhile, I stayed in jail and on parole and probation from there until 2016 when she finally found me and made me an offer. She says, look, man, if you're willing to change a little bit of your life and go to jail and clean up and get out without being on these problems, I'll help you out. Well, I had to take that deal. Just kind of tired of being on the run and sleeping in the bushes anyway, and she gave me an open door to a different way of life. I had to take that. And besides, this is my daughter, and I've always wanted to get to know her. And when I ran into her in 2016, that was actually the first I knew of her. All I knew was I had a daughter. I didn't know anything about her at all. I didn't raise her. Nobody told me information about the way she was being raised. I didn't even know she was a musician. I didn't know anything about her. And as the weeks would turn into months, and I went and turned myself in and got out, when I got released and I went with her, she helped me get on the GR program practically indefinitely, so I wouldn't have to be under the burden of running around hustling anymore. So she got me a little income. She got my identification straightened out, and well, I wouldn't want to say that I actually lived with her because that would be taking on her address, and that wouldn't be true. I'm not actually doing that. I'm still legally, from a legal point of view, a homeless person. I got an address, one of those kind you buy. But I do stay with her, and we help each other out in our daily lives, and we're getting along just fine and trying to put some songs together, and we're working on making a plan towards if this works, you know, we'll go out and help other homeless people and offer them a chance that maybe they could get. You never know, you know, if you're willing to put up your half of a foot and someone else is willing to help you out a little bit along the way, you can get out from underneath the bushes. If it matters to you, it can be done. I guess I can offer that much to them, that's about it though. But really, you know, I'm a lot happier than I ever used to be. I'm not on heroin or cocaine anymore. I'm not running around with all, you know, the crazy life anymore. I gave up all of that and got used to living with my daughter and feel at home and comfortable doing that. And this will probably go on. And well, when she meets a guy, whenever that is, we're hoping to get a house. She already bought a little trailer to live in, but I want to get a house where I can put the trailer on the side of the house where I can set myself up in it. You know? But meanwhile, you know, we're just, you know, doing our thing, going around and about and playing in homeless shelters and stuff like that, and meeting people.
So do you have any questions? We would really love to open the floor. Anything at all, just ask 1 or 2 or 3. It would be awesome. Love to, if you have any thoughts or questions. And yours, yeah? Hi.
You know, Cami, I have 2 adopted sons that came to me through the foster system.
Yep.
Both of them will be turning 18 within the next 1 to 2 years, and I imagine they're going to look for their birth family. I'm curious, has the relationship with your adoptive family changed since you've gone Don?
That's the right question.
Such a great question. Oh, I
And does
love
Don
it.
have a relationship with those folks?
So great. Okay, yes. Long and short of it, I have a fantastic adoptive family. My adopted father passed away years ago, so he wasn't really a part of this chapter, not in the physical world anyway. And I didn't really tell my mom that I was going to go look for my birth father or anything like that. I mean, maybe supposedly she might have figured that that would happen one day because I had already had quite a journey meeting my maternal relatives over the course of time, and there was a different story there, so it was a little bit of a smoother transition to meet them, and my mom was already welcoming and warm to them. They're artistic, they're different, they're creative, and so sometimes a birthday or sometimes a Hanukkah or sometimes it's something like I would have brought them or someone, and she was always warm and welcome. So I knew that she had it in her to do that. But there were stories. A lot of people were unclear about my paternal side, and I think a lot of people when they're aware of drugs and addiction or overuse or use or whatever, or homelessness or incarceration or any of those things, a lot of thoughts come to that, and a lot of concerns, a lot of worries. Why is someone adopted in the first place? Well, there's obviously usually a pretty good reason, right? So I didn't want to concern anyone else, and I also didn't want to be influenced by anyone else's fears or projections. So I did a lot of legwork on my own first, research, reconnaissance, if you will, kind of like CSI Miami, going into the streets and checking things out and talking to the police department, sort of navigating everything kind of before, and also just scanning the dwelling where he would get his mail, which is kind of how I found him. So I kind of did a little bit of background to see what I was getting into. And then I kind of it was wild at the time. I was living near downtown, so I was literally just like 7 or 8 metro stops away from my birth father when he was sleeping outside. Like, it was just so interesting, right? So when I finally figured it all out and I went there, slowly, as we built our dynamic and we built our trust and we built our relationship, and we're very out of the box. We do a lot of very unique things to make things work. And from the very beginning, it was like every single day was a moment. Every moment became a minute. Every minute became a lifetime of memories. And so I didn't have a lot of expectations or anything like that. And I'd already worked with so many different volunteer groups up until that point. And as a tutor, I worked with homeless demographics, I worked with incarceration demographics, I worked with special intelligence demographics, that's what I call them, on the spectrum of any kind. So I kind of had a feeling that I might have some tools and just to go with my instincts. So for me, it was really fun. At the time when I was ready to introduce my mom to Dawn and made sure that, she was comfortable enough, we did it very slowly. And my relationship, I think, with my adoptive family is even better, because they understand me a little more and they see a different depth to me. I'm the black sheep, I'm the youngest, I'm like the creative, the artist, like just the other one. My older 3 brothers have their families and their lives, everything's sort of set, and they're just a lot more further along in their development and establishment than I am. And so I was just different. And I think when they saw the documentary, ode to Irene for making such an amazing, someday maybe you'll get to see it, but she took our music, my music and Dawn's playing, and sort of told the story cinematically with music underscoring it, rather than a normal standard documentary of talk story. And it really was so compelling that my family got a chance to see a different side. And now, Dawn gets to come to everything if he wants to, and also they're very very kind with Dawn. Has a little Dawn space everywhere we go. Like, we can create a Dawn space. He gets chess, he's got his books, whatever he wants, outside sometimes, whatever. And my family just sort of it gets it and accepts it and lets it be. And so, but it's not going to be that way for everyone, right? Not everyone's going to have a happy ending or a positive story or interjection that works. It might not be. It might be hard. And I think the best thing I could ever say to anyone, either in your position or your son's positions, is A, lose the expectations and go with an open heart, and B, really build up the best sense of tools for sense of self, sense of sanity, sense of understanding, and sense of strength, without really having to have anything else complete you. And then you can kind of take things for what they are and just have it be a story. And I think that a story becomes history with us together. And I think that that's sort of like a cool bit. So that would be my long-winded answer.
Are you the only adopted one in the family?
No, actually, interestingly enough, my mom was married and adopted a baby in her first marriage. My dad was married and had 2 sons biologically in his first marriage. Then they met each other, and everybody kind of came together, and they were like, we should get a kid of our own. My mom was like, we need a daughter, let's buy one. No, I'm just kidding. She was like, we need a daughter, And so then they put in an order, right, for a girl, and they forgot about it. A year went by, and all of a sudden, things just happened in my situation so quickly. She got a call. And, yeah.
I talked to her adopted mother and explained that I was grateful for them to adopt and do what they did raising her, because I wasn't able to do that. They did for me what I flat out wasn't in a position to do, because I was in jail. There wasn't nothing I could do. All I could do was pass my 23 to Mary Lou, and that was it. I didn't see anything from it until the year 2016. That was the end of it. That's what I know her from 2016 on up.
But
So I
ironically,
told her a adopted mother. I didn't get a chance to with her adopted father because he already had passed away, and her brothers too, by the way, her adopted brother. I said, look, I'm without words to how grateful I am for what you people did for my daughter. Straight out, yeah, you're wonderful people.
and everything sort of out of order works out because you've done so much for me now, and like together, like we're like just one huge wild family. In fact, my birth mother's family invited Dawn to like in a holiday thing like 2 weeks ago. So if you can just mind map this out, we go to I call my parents my mom and my dad. Though they adopted me, they're my mom and my dad. And then I call Dawn BOD or like birth dad or whatever. And then my maternal side, my biological maternal side. So anyway, we were at my mom's house. And then I got to go to my biological mother's family, who's still living, and they invited Dawn and us to play music. And so it was just this wild ride of being able to kind of tie everything together. And it was out of order, but it's like everyone is just so just welcoming now. And just like
In any case, she had an opportunity to learn about her entire adopted family, all the brothers involved in it, and her biological mother's family. Even though she never met her biological mother, she was able to meet her family members, practically every single one of them, and her biological father's family, all except the only one left is my Uncle Mike, who she hasn't met yet, but she's met my brothers and my aunts and all that. So yeah, she's made the whole merry-go-round.
For music, what do you do for a living?
I just do music. I mean, I do different versions of music.
Cool.
So
She teaches the temple children. She plays music and teaches and associates with the temple, the Jewish temple children, on a pretty large scale. Her life is well balanced and put together. Mine was in the bushes when we met.
What did you say that
Yeah, you let's see.
so fun. No, you had that one term you came up with.
Yeah.
What was it called? Unbummed you.
Yeah, I was a bum and you came into my life and unbummed me. That's the reality.
It's just amazing.
I was in trouble with the law and now I'm not. And straight out because you helped me out.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't something that I did on my own. Here, I'll tell you the truth. Now, when I did my 3 months in jail to get out and be clean, my mind was irreversibly made up that if she wasn't there across the street when I walked out that door, I was running. There wasn't going to be no going to the probation department at all. So I never would have got off of probation. I would have continuously, been rotating on the run and get caught and run again and all that. This would have dragged on until I couldn't possibly outlive that. It would have went on to the end of my life. So she did help me in a real way.
Yeah, he's out of the system.
She got me completely out of the system.
Since he was 9, he's
I don't
been
got
in the system.
Yeah, I've never been out of the system as far as I'm concerned since I've been on Earth. I've always been in trouble of some sort. It's just, I think I was just born that way, or that's the way I wanted to be, or something. But no, I wasn't one of them kids that went to school and went to church and all that, and then grew up with a suit and tie and all that. No reality like that to my life. I was a different kind of a kid. Now, let me quickly straighten out a little situation here. There is a picture of a woman standing next to a man. That is the woman that one day I would wind up going with, of whom she would have a child, one and only child in her whole lifespan that she would have. I was the guy who gave her the molecule, the big 23, that shot that. That's how that happened.
Yeah, so over there on that little countertop there's Mary Lou and her brother, and then my grandfather and grandmother in another picture. And you can just, like, if you want after this, you can peruse and like flip through the pictures and sort of see some of the stuff we've done in the last few years, a little bit of the film festivals the film has been in.
Want you to feel wanted all of the time. Show you good loving so you know you're mine. One of these days in love from the start. One of these days, and it won't be long, my love won't be hidden in a love song. You pick me up as I swallow my pride.
2 more questions. Yes.
So how do you start when you try to do a new song? You start by the rhythm or the letters?
Oh, that's cool. Okay,
Yeah,
so
right.
yeah. Well, in my experience, I do them both at the same time. Or well, actually, I've recently gotten better at driving. But a lot of my recordings, which I have here, from the past, I would think of the words or like an idea or rhyme or something in the car, and then kind of forget that that happened. And then with an instrument, a piano, a guitar, maybe bass, it all sort of happens together, and I feel like we're more instruments ourselves, and something kind of comes through us to make the music. Thanks for asking a music question. That's cool.
Yeah, how do you guys, work on the songs together?
There's lots of like patience.
Let me answer
You
that
answer
for
that
Well, the way I usually do it is I'll listen to her play and sing, and look at the chord structures that she's doing and the different time frames and so on and so forth. And then I'll secretly, when she takes me to a park, when she goes off to work, I'll sit at the park with my guitar and I'll secretly practice the stuff that I earlier watched her do. And then I'll record it on a little 4-track tape recorder and then study it and so on, and then try to slowly build the songs. And I'm trying to get them a lot better than they actually are now, and make a DVD or something, or just give them away at places, and so on. But yeah, that's basically how we put our songs together. Is I'll watch her play, and then, sometimes I'll even write down what she played, write the music straight out, and then go to the park and practice it. That's pretty much how we do it. When I was 13, my mother bought me an electric guitar. That was the first actual electric guitar I had, and I got right away got in trouble with the law and did 6 months in a boys' home, and they let me bring the guitar. So I had that action, so I was able to practice the guitar, and when I got out, then I would wind up getting a much better guitar and learn how to hook up the amplifiers and all that, and continue playing despite the fact that I would get in trouble with the law, because I would always talk them into letting me bring my equipment with me. So I did my time with my equipment. So, it's strange as if made a deal with Miss Bagley, that was the sergeant of a state penitentiary of the entertainment yard, and she gave me a cell with an electric guitar and an amp and let me have it for 19 months and work in the recording studio. I had that action, so I had to study and take advantage of that. Yeah, that's how I did it. That's how I practiced and was able to stay in tune with playing music, was because I always brought my equipment with me when I went and did time.
And you, Cami, when did you start your musical career?
Apparently, so I was in about 4 foster homes before I was adopted, and apparently in the second foster home that I was in, they went somewhere, and I was just like 2.5 at the time, almost 3, and apparently there was a piano, and I just banged on it. I don't quite remember that, but I was very lucky, I think, to be adopted into a family with a piano, because if that hadn't happened, and they weren't particularly musical, really. So, but if that hadn't happened, I don't really know. I'm not sure, like, if I would have really had the opportunities. So the operas really gave me, they noticed right away, I just went to the piano, and that's actually my first instrument. It's harder to mess up on that. You can just bang all the keys, right? So, and then I took lessons here and there and struggled with that, started writing a bit, and didn't really identify as a musician until a lot later. And then my mom said, well, you can't find a piano everywhere, you should really learn guitar. It wasn't even my idea, like I would have never thought to learn guitar, and it took forever to be able to really play.
She didn't know it, but her grandfather was a piano player, my dad. I believe the mom just went to her, and that's why she started playing piano when she was a little child.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
But yeah, and then you would switch it to guitar and then continue on from there and
Yep.
get in with the drummers and bands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
father and finding, like, you know,
That's
I
a
think
good
so.
question.
That's a good question. I think so. I really do, because Don is very
Slightly it is.
yeah, he's very forgiving of my like idiosyncrasies of how my mind goes quite fast often. So I will be 10 steps ahead of something. So maybe in music I might already not even realizing it, like hear or think or want something to happen, and sometimes might be impatient because and actually he can pick up that quickly and sort of just come up with something. And but more than anything else, he's just patient with that part about me, and I think that that's a very fortunate and safe place to be able to create.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I never played that crunchy sound ever until I found Don. And then when he was playing, I was like, oh, I want to be like that. I've always wanted to be like that anyways. So, and he, most of the time, he would find broken pedals or whatever and wire them up or fix them, or he would take batteries and triple wire them because there wasn't really a lot of electricity where he was sleeping outside and stuff. So he would wire stuff together and power everything so magically. So it was like, I was like, oh, I don't have to, I can just, start from scratch and try and make a sound. And it wasn't so scary, and then over time I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. If I just keep doing the same thing really simple, maybe it won't sound so bad. So yeah, I forgot. So there's one more bit, but don't feel pressure because we're a very small group tonight and I know everyone has their own life that they're working with. But Dawn and I do perform and go to homeless centers and shelters and we speak. And there's two in particular. One is in the valley up near here called Hope of the Valley, and the other is in Highland Park. And we bring physical donations, and we always bring a percentage of whatever we make when we perform. It's not always a big one, but we usually do. Or what we'll do is we'll take a percentage and we'll put together little gift kits of some kind. So we were coming up with this idea with my little pink bag over there. It's like a donation entry fee for tonight, a suggested donation. It was $15, but that might be steep. So if you're comfortable and want to donate something, anything, that would be great. If you want to really donate something, and then you can take a CD, we can just call it a wash. Whatever you feel comfortable with. If you just want to be here, that's fine too. Maybe spread the word, maybe take a picture, maybe talk about it online, anything to help. I think that it would be great. And it's really, thank you for being our first independent audience. And I'm going to put a little music on my cell phone if there's any battery left, and you can just peruse and eat and be merry. So thank you for coming.
My daughter, everybody.
These shadows